I'm so excited. I'm scared, but I'm also so excited. Somehow, I have mostly managed to avoid spoilers. Even though I forgot to tag the spoiler. Forgot to block the spoiler tag on Tumblr until I saw some fan art. But that might not be from the book. That might just be something this person drew for their own, you know, mental health. But I would like it to happen. I'm not going to say anything, just in case you also haven't, for some reason, somehow, haven't read this book. I mean, it's possible. Anyway. Nona the Ninth. Oh my god. I'm so excited. Also, I love the cover. It's so cute. I love the little dog. The little mutant dog. That's me. One of the cats is coming to investigate since I've left the door open. This is not my room, by the way. This is my roommate's room, but since she is in New Zealand, I'm kind of using it. Because it gets really good sunlight. No, you don't want to come in here. Alright. Dramatis personae. I never know how to pronounce that. It's crossed out, so it doesn't matter. Guest list. As transcribed by C. Hecht. Dogs to invite to birthday party. This is my favorite part. Brown one by the fish shop. Average sized, 4 legs. Stop it! Name assumed. Lies under counter at dairy. Red color, big sized, 4 legs. White and black one seen once in the park. Average size, tail curled twice, 3 legs. I love that she saw this dog once in the park and is like, you're coming to my birthday party. That's good vibes right there. Noodle, king of dogs in secret. White adjacent, small sized, 6 legs. Ooh, wow. Maybe that's the one on the cover. Is that Noodle? Is that Noodle? I already love him. Spotted beach dog. Often on beach, large sized, huge ginger eyebrows, 3 legs. I confess, when I read spotted beach dog, I immediately think of seals. Does she know the difference between a dog and a seal? I don't think seals have eyebrows. Anyway. Members of gang to invite to birthday party. Hot sauce, honesty, born in the morning, beautiful Ruby, and Kevin. Tag yourself, I'm beautiful Ruby. Teachers. The angel? Blood of Eden. Crown him with many crowns. No. Signed C. The captain, maybe. Not possible. Signed C. Cell commander, we suffer and we suffer, although actually she might be wing commander. I don't know which it is. It's both. And no. Signed C. And you 3. Good to know. Signed C. One for the emperor, first of us all. One for his lictors who answered the call. One for his saints who were chosen of old. One for his hands and the swords that they hold. 2 is for discipline, heedless of trial. 3 for the gleam of a jewel or a smile. 4 for fidelity facing ahead. 5 for tradition and debts to the dead. 6 for the truth over solace in lies. 7 for beauty that blossoms and dies. 8 for salvation no matter the cost. 9 for the tomb and for all that was lost. I feel like this next thing is gonna fuck me up. We'll see. You told me, sleep, I'll wake you in the morning. I asked, what is morning? And you said, when everyone who fucked with me is dead. I love that. When everyone we loved has gone or fled, that's morning. Empty's just another word for clean. Let's put this first draft dream of mine to bed. Oh, I like that. That's getting a green tab. Green tab is for things that I think are pretty. Like descriptions and poetic stuff. In the appointed hour, I'll pull up your sheets. I'll kill the light, lie down beside you, die, and sleep the night. This time will be the time we get it right. Forgiveness not so hard, nor anger long. Our graves will be less deep, our lies less true. He held aloft the sword I still love. Yeah, I'm tearing up. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Okay, Nona the Ninth, with ninth crossed out, just in case you don't have the book in front of you. John, 28. In the dream he told her the words about where he took his degrees, his postdoc, his research fellowship. They were his noise and not really for consumption. More like meditation. Like even his mouth knew the pointlessness of it and just wanted to recite. Dilworth, Otago, Auckland, overseas to Corpus. She likes the word corpus. It sounds nice and fat. I love this already. Then another year abroad where he got the grant and met the men who would make things happen. Special pleading with the New Zealand government and the Asia Pacific Environmental at his suggestion, then back to the facility outside Greytown. They mocked it up to look like a freezing works. We thought that was funny, he said. What? They mocked it up to look like a freezing works? Freezing works of what? Do I want the yellow to be confusing stuff? Like for the last book? I'm going to use a lot of yellow. I don't think this is important enough to tab right now. He said, we just wanted to save you. You were so sick. He said, it was me and A and M at the start. It wasn't that they didn't have the money for a bigger team. We were simply the only ones capable of what they were asking. M for medical. A because he was the glycerol 6 genius. He could have gone anywhere, but he stuck with me, and thank God for that, because he handled all the shareholders. I was there for everything, but those meetings were like dying. I'll never love meetings. C was brought on by the oversight execs for contracts, checks and balances. But look where that ended up. She was on our side before the first year was over. He said, you have to understand that right up until that last year, we believed they were going to see it through. We knew the plan could work. The Mark R cryocans had room for 11 billion people easy. We got the procedure down to 5 hours per person with a trained team of 4. 11 billion people. Isn't that the number of the resurrection? Assuming an existing medical degree, that training could start as little as weeks. Manpower wasn't an issue if we started now. Sure, the maternity stuff wasn't totally ironed out, but we were nearly there and the packing was perfect. Of course, they bitched about the timeline and they bitched about the money, but they were always going to bitch about the money. Our rule was nobody knowingly left behind. Okay. I know how I literally read John and then I didn't comprehend that it was him speaking. This needs a purple tab for information. So Augustine and Mercy at the start. C. Kitharea, I assume? This makes it seem like it was like all some kind of government plan. Oh shit. They were all people before the resurrection. But I thought not everyone was alive before the resurrection. I thought it was only John and Augustine. Because it said that Augustine died. Okay. It's gonna be a lot of this, so prepare yourself. Okay. Our rule was nobody knowingly left behind. He said even when they were constructing the other ships, we got told straight up that it was nothing. They were being sent off to the Kuiper installation to be on point for the full population evac. My apologies for mangling words. This is what happens when I read physically. When I read audiobooks, I don't know how to spell things. When I read physically, I don't know how to pronounce things. Sorry. IAF were involved. Pan-Euro-Astronautics gave it their blessing. It was all so benign. We even lent them G at the time because they wanted to talk about coding. M said she didn't like it. She smelled a rat. And you know what I said? You know what I told her? I said, don't let it get to you. And I said, don't get paranoid. I fucking looked her in the eye and said, this is the way we're getting out. And you know that the moment 6 trillionaires realize it, they're going where the oxygen is. That's what I always told her. They're going where the oxygen is. Wealthy men head for the exit. He said, "When they called me up and said the cryo project was over, she looked at me and she just said, 'There they go, John.'" In the dream, they were sitting on the beach. He had made a fire from damp driftwood. The smoke made a black mark where it touched the tarpaulin, at the top, where it was stretched over their heads. The ash was still falling. It made them sick, but only ever for a little while. Anything that hurt them only ever hurt for a little while. Oh my goodness. Damn. In the dream, she was sat next to a bundle of meat he'd cut, thighs mostly, for when they felt hungry, which happened rarely and always simultaneously. When it did happen, they would be side by side, eating until their stomachs were sore. They would drink from the sea like dogs. Are they okay? I mean, I know this is a dream, so I suppose they can drink from the ocean. I'm trying to make too much sense of this, and I know it's probably only going to make sense by the end of the damn book, and I'm gonna have to reread it. After a pause, he said after a pause, "You know the worst part? She cried. She and Abe both cried, in each other's arms like babies. They were so fucking scared. And I was right there, and I couldn't do piss. Everything I was, and everything I had done, and I couldn't do a damn thing." He was quiet for a long one. He was quiet for a long time. The sea ate at the sand. The waves glowed a little, even though there were... Okay, I need to slow down. This is what happens when I try to read too fast when I get really excited. The waves glowed a little, even though there was no sunshine, only thick yellow cloud. She prompted, "So what did you do?" He said, "A damn thing, didn't I?" She said, "When is the part where you hurt me?" He said, "Soon. It's coming up." She said, "I still love you." And in the dream he rubbed his temple with his thumb and said, "You always say that, Harrowhark." Okay. I have a lot of emotions. So, those are Harrow's dreams inside the sort of tomb. I'm sorry if the lighting goes weird. The sun is currently coming in the window, and I'm trying not to move too much so as to not confuse the camera, but I just looked up and I saw myself turn into a vampire. Okay. Day 1. Regarding Nona, hot sauce is watchful. The city has a bad day. Nona gets a bedtime story. 5 days until the tomb opens. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Oh, we're back to the regular kind of chapter headings. These ones have the nice little locked tombs. So maybe the chains might move. That's what I loved about reading the physical books for the first time. I loved seeing the little icons at each chapter heading. I forgot to pay attention to them sometimes because I was just like, I need to keep going. Okay, chapter 1. Late in the year of nobody, she really thought about that much in particular. I said that sentence really awkwardly, sorry. Late in the year of nobody she really thought about that much in particular, the person who looked after her pushed the button on the recorder and said start. She squeezed her eyes shut and began in a practiced hurry. The painted face is on top of me. I'm in the safe water. I'm lying down, I think. Something's pushing at me. The water goes over my head and it's in my mouth. It goes up my nose. Does it hurt? No. How do you feel? I like it. I like the water. I like her hands. Her hands? They're the things around me. Maybe they're my hands. The pencil scratched loudly on the paper. How about the face? It's the picture face. The sketch they'd made for her. The one locked in the secret drawer where they put all the really interesting things, like cigarettes and the fake identification cards, and all the money they said wasn't legal tender and couldn't be used. The pencil obligingly scribbled its way across the page. It was hard not to open her eyes and look at the person opposite, so she amused herself by imagining what she would see. Tanned, sure hands on the notebook, head bent over it, the fringe pinned up, waiting for haircut day. Imagining was better than looking anyway, because the battery lamp wasn't switched on. She said, "What are you writing?" Because the pencil was still going. Most of the time, the writing was interesting, but some of the time it was just boring descriptions of how her face was changing when she talked, like 024, smiled. 0.24, she smiled. Okay, slow down, Alina. Okay. Incidentals. Keep going, you woke up late. Can you change the alarm song? I can sleep through good morning now. Sure, I'll drop a wet sponge on your face instead. Keep thinking. She kept thinking. The arms go really tight around me. They're her arms, definitely. Is she familiar? Maybe. I don't know. How do you know they're her? I don't know. What happens, Steph? What happens after that? Don't know. Long pause. Anything else? No, it's gone already. Sorry, Camilla. Not a problem. Camilla had to press the button with a bright and final plastic clack. This was the cue, so she exploded into action. The rule was that she had to lie still and concentrate as hard as she could from the time the button went down to the time when the button went up. When it went up, pajamas came off. Under the pale, wavering light of the tiny torch taped to Cam's clipboard, she undressed and dressed herself at the same time, which required a lot of contortions. She wrestled out of her nightshirt with her arms and stretched on her trousers using her ankles in the move that Camilla called worm with problems. I love this. Well, eventually I need to cut myself some more orange tabs. Orange are for things that are funny. I feel like I'm probably going to be using a fair amount of these. Being the worm with problems did not worry her. Just being able to dress herself was charming. In the bad old days, she used to have to be helped even with the nightshirt because she couldn't be trusted not to get stuck with it halfway over her head and get all hot and upset from claustrophobia. It was incredibly important that she not get upset like that again. She had only ever had 2 tantrums in her life, but it would be humiliating to have a third. It's adorable. Also, this is bothering me, so I'm gonna have to take it off. Her fingers fumbled a little with the vest, but she was fine pulling on the UV sand shirt, even with arranging the cuffs, which could be complicated. And if you got it wrong, you had to stand in the bath to take it off again in showers of yellow dirt. The what now? It had dirt inside the shirt? Okay, I'm just gonna keep reading. The canvas jacket with the toggle closers didn't slow. Oh, it's practice. Okay, so of course she has to wear special clothes. Okay, I'm a little slow. This is a lot, okay? The canvas jacket with the toggle closers didn't slow her down at all. When she finished, Cam said, "Good, quick." And she was so exhausted from the praise, she collapsed back on the mattress. "I'm doing my stretches now," she announced hastily before she could be told to do anything else. She swung her legs. That's not a word. She swung her legs upward until her feet were pointed flat at the ceiling, and as she'd been taught, rotated her toes from that angle to circle around the water stains she could see on the plaster. The winter wet was over, but the huge patch of black damp in the corner hadn't dried up yet. Ew. She had told everyone that she should really talk to the landlord. Why was that so hard for me to say? But it had been communicated to her that if she could even find the landlord, she would get a gold medal. Camilla had not said anything in approval or censure, so she said more emphatically, "My legs are really tight today," in the immortal hope that Cam would take her ankles in her hands and walk them forward. Cam would do this until her knees were touching her chest and her hamstrings were stretched so taut she was convinced they were about to go ping and snap. It was the best thing in the world. If she was really lucky, Camilla would even rub her calves, which were always sore from walking, or even sometimes her back, though that was usually after practice. But Camilla was busy writing and did not take the bait no matter how much she wiggled her toes. She repeated herself and added, "Wow, very tight, goodness gracious," in a slightly louder voice. Camilla said, not looking. "Walk it off." "I think I might have a cramp. I think I can't move." "Guess you can't go to school then." She knew when she was beaten. I'm up. To prove how up she was, she arched her back, and rocked up to stand, having only pushed herself up a little bit with her arms. She'd been practicing. And when she straightened up with only the slightest wobble, she was delighted. But all Camilla said was, "Don't hyperextend," crushingly, and worse, "Go see if Pyrrha needs help with breakfast." "Okay, she's probably done, though. We took forever. Maybe the food went cold," she added, misty with desire. I'm already obsessed with this dynamic. I love them all so much. I hope I'm pronouncing Pyrrha's name right. I think it's Pyrrha, not Pyrrha. Definitely don't remember how to pronounce her last name, so let's hope they don't say it. Camilla briefly looked up from the notebook with a critical eye at her bedhead, which had not improved with sketches or jumping. Not sketches, stretches. She added, "Get her to do your hair. I'm going to talk." "Oh, good. I'll time." "I've got a clockwork." "Cam, that sounds strange. Nobody here calls it a clockwork. They say watch." "Good to know. Stop trying to miss breakfast." She hedged cunningly. "At least, please, can you write down 'I love you, Palamides' for me? At least write 'I love you, Palamides' from Nona." This Camilla Hecht did unblushingly, though Nona had to take it on trust. When she squatted down on her haunches, following the strokes the pencil made, she could not make out a single word. She could not even make out a letter, not of any alphabet she'd ever been shown, which interested everyone except herself. But you could always trust Cam. When the pencil stopped and the message was obviously discharged, Nona leaned into her and said, "Thanks. I love you too, Camilla. And, do you know who I am yet?" "Someone who's late for breakfast," said Camilla. But as Nona straightened, she turned and smiled her rare brief smile, the one like the sun, catching the glitter of a car on the motorway. Cam smiled so seldom now that Nona immediately felt it was going to be a good day. There wasn't any lighter in the kitchen. Oh, not there wasn't. It wasn't. I was like, why does there need to be a lighter in the kitchen? I mean, several reasons, but why is that the first thing that she's noticed? Okay, I'm just gonna keep reading. It wasn't any lighter in the kitchen. There was thin blue light coming from the joints in the curtains, and an orange glow from the worn-out hot plate, mostly blocked by the other person she lived with. There was a baby wailing in mourning-related outrage a few apartments away. I like that. Mourning-related outrage. You know, that's a very valid feeling. So Nona walked on the balls of her feet to not add to the noise. The people underneath hated it if you walked loudly. And Pyrrha said they had militia links, and not to piss them off because they were also hungover 90% of the time. This was unfair because the person above them never took their shoes off inside, which surely meant they were allowed to complain about that. But Pyrrha said they shouldn't piss them off because they were a cop. Pyrrha said it hit the Let's try that again. Pyrrha called it the shit sandwich. Pyrrha always seemed to know everything about everybody. "All done? Good timing," said Pyrrha without turning around. Pyrrha was holding a can of spray-on oil whose nozzle she directed neatly into the pan, where she wiped the pale froth around with a spatula. She was wearing pajama pants and a string vest and no shirt, so the orange glow of the hot plate ring lit up all the scars on her wiry arms. She was feeling around for the breakfast things in the cupboard with her other hand, so Nona came up and took the mesh basket and started counting out plates for her. "Is that pikelet mix?" she said. "Get bowls. It's eggs," said Pyrrha. Up close, Nona could smell the spray-on oil and watch Pyrrha agitate a fork in a beaker of violently orange liquid, radioactively orange, even in the dark, before tipping it into the pan to sizzle. Yellow lacework immediately formed where it splashed against the hot edge. Nona replaced the plates with 2 chipped bowls, and Pyrrha said, "Doesn't that school of yours teach counting?" "Oh, but Pyrrha, it's so hot. Can't I have something cold?" "Sure. Leave them to get cold." "Yuck, that's not what I meant. The eggs aren't optional, kitty. How's the dreams?" "Same as normal," said Nona, reluctantly taking another bowl. "I wish I could dream something different for once. Do you dream, Pyrrha?" "Sure. Just last night I dreamed I had to give a briefing, but I wasn't wearing pants, and my backside was hanging out," said Pyrrha, hacking the shocking orange curds into clumps with the edge of the spatula. During a pause in Nona's gurgles of mirth, she added solemnly, "It was no fun, my child. I knew I'd be okay so long as I was hiding behind the podium, but I didn't know what I'd do once I had to sit down again. Die, I guess. Are you being serious or joking with me? Nona demanded, once this fresh pleasure had subsided. Nona is so cute, I can't handle it. Deadly serious. But go put another mark under ass joke anyway. Nona was happy enough to get up from the table and cross to the big sheet of brown paper tacked up on the wall, to take the pencil and wait for Pyrrha to say, 1 higher, 1 left, stop right there, so she could make a blobby tally mark. She counted up the tally marks and said, that's the 7th one this month. That's not fair when you keep making them. Calamities will say you're skewing the data. I could never help giving... Oh, whoops. I forgot that I gave Pyrrha a low voice. I could never help giving the girls what they wanted, said Pyrrha. She turned off the hob and appended some of the pan into Nona's bowl, then set the pan back on the hob with a cloth over it to keep it warm. She wiped her hands and said, eat. I'll do your hair. Thank you, said Nona, grateful for the understanding. Cam said to ask, can I get braids? Whatever the lady wishes. Can I get 1 big braid and 2 little braids coming off it at the sides? Sure, if we've got time. They don't come loose, and the plain plaits do. Plaits? Plaits? Plaits. I think it's plaits. Another word that I haven't said out loud. Maybe not never, but not in a while. Nona added in the spirit of truth, and I can't help but chewing the ends with plaits. I want to steer clear of temptation. It's with a big T. Don't we all? I need to stop torturing myself by staring at the cigarette drawer. Don't start the secondhand smoke argument again, said Nona in alarm, but then figuring she'd been harsh. Anyway, they're bad for you, and I love you, Pyrrha. Prove it, said Pyrrha, which meant she had to eat the eggs. Nona ate while Pyrrha brushed out her hair in short, brisk strokes, letting its fine black sheets fall over Nona's shoulders. It went almost to the bottom of her back now, and it was soft and thin as water. Every 4th haircut day they cut it, but not every haircut day, because it was a pain, and because people noticed your hair growing less when it was already long, Camilla said. People noticed your hair growing less when it was already long, Camilla said. Okay, that was a weird emphasis. Camilla and Pyrrha both got to have short hair, which she envied. Cam's was dark brown and bobbed off sharply at the chin, and it felt nice against your cheek. And whenever Pyrrha didn't shave her head quick enough, she got a little flat cap of dark terracotta, the color of wet red earth at the building site. Most of Pyrrha was the colors of the building site. Deep, dried-out browns, dusty hunks of clay, rusted metal. She was raw and ropey and square-shouldered. And Camilla was long and shadowy and lean. Nona thought they were both exquisite. I think all of you are exquisite. Okay, I'm fine. Camilla came in when Pyrrha was fixing up the first braid, and when Nona had gotten as far as chewing the eggs, which was an agonizing step on the journey to eating the eggs. Camilla said unhappily, eggs? Have we not invented a new protein? Which meant it wasn't Camilla at all. I didn't realize they could do this! Oh my god, I love it! Ugh. God, does that mean I have to give him a different voice? I'm not very good at voices. I'm sorry, I'll try my best. The easiest way of telling who was in the eyes. Calamities had soft, cool eyes of brownish gray, like bare ground in the cold mornings when Nona had been little. And Camilla had the clearest of clear gray eyes, like storybook eyes, not like normal cloudy eyes at all. But Nona could tell them apart from across the room, which she was proud of, because their body was otherwise exactly the same. The difference was how they stood. Camilla couldn't stand still, ever. Me too. Not without shifting her weight back and forth on each knee or popping her knuckles. And Calamity stood like he was playing a game of hot chocolate, and the tagger was looking right at him. Hot chocolate was in fashion with her friends at the moment, and Nona wanted to get really good at it. Meat's black market only right now, Pyrrha said, starting in on a second braid. Calamities was spooning gritty black spoonfuls of instant coffee into mugs. He said absently, "Coffee, Nona?" Even though she always said, "No, but thank you." Calamities liked giving you options. And he even waited until she said, "No, but thank you," before he poured the boiling water twice. No milk, because they'd run out of packets. He put one mug where Pyrrha could reach it. She was currently leaning over to the counter for a hairpin, and kept one for himself. They sat and steamed in the muggy air, and Nona sniffed at this nice, bitter coffee smell. Rude. I do like the smell of coffee, though my body really does not like coffee. Pyrrha continued. Anyway, you're paying for the meat roulette. The stuff the butcher keeps back. The stuff the butcher's keeping back is only 10% upholstery. The rest is livers and gristle. Nona wanted to know, what part's the upholstery? A very nutritious part, said Palamides. The part that hung out in my dreams, said Pyrrha. I can't. I love her. That set Nona off again. And me. And me too. So she had to get up from her eggs to make another mark on her tally sheet. I did not think of that as a butt joke. I thought of that as a different joke. Whatever. Palamides stared, distracted, and said, Dear God, 2 in a day. Why are we even remotely in doubt? Forget the meat. I was being facetious. We wouldn't have upholstery money even if I wrote hardcore pornography for a living. Pyrrha said, Wish you'd try. These nicotine patches are killing me. If that's meant to make me feel guilty, I feel nothing. Thank you, said Palamides. Cam's body is a temple. She's the one who's banned me from a life of peddling poor-quality erotica. Says she doesn't want our last gift to the universe to be tales of people mashing birthday cakes beneath their bottoms. Speaking of, Pyrrha, do you have a minute? You came in too late last night to talk. We're overtime is why, said Pyrrha. The damn drills stop every half hour so we can take cover. Nona felt the pins securing the last little braid to her head, and then the braid being patted flat with one weathered hand. Pyrrha said, Empty that bowl, Nona, and took her mug of coffee as Palamides spooned himself some eggs. She and Palamides went back into the bedroom with their breakfast and closed the door behind them. In their absence, Nona considered the eggs. They were a uniform yellow color, with dusty black flecks of pepper. You were allowed to put as much thin, fiery red sauce on them as you liked, but it wasn't the taste Nona minded. She then considered the window beyond the curtains, which was open a crack, at the very least enough for a spoon. Pyrrha had, after all, said to empty the bowl. But Palamides said that she could handle abstract concepts, and therefore literal interpretation was not a defense. She considered the eggs again. As a virtuous compromise, she put 3 spoonfuls in her mouth and walked soundlessly over to the shut door. It was unnecessarily harsh to expect her not to listen and to eat. We're due for a chat about blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to say the whole word because it's awkward. There's no O, though, just so you know. There's just a dash. Overdue for a chat about the due date, Pyrrha was saying. If they want her early, want can be their master. They gave us a year. No, nobody's allowed to have her. No. Then they both moved away from the door, which made things more difficult. Anything from your sit? Palamides was speaking at the bottom of Camilla's voice. Ooh. Okay, so I should make it a little lower, I suppose. Anything from your sit? Palamides was speaking at the bottom of Camilla's voice. Ain't some guys comb over Site B. Push, maybe tomorrow we... Promise in Site C. We know they own the build... A sites first. The closer we get to the barracks, to being rumbled that we're searching. Search it. Sorry. There was more talking, but they had both dropped their voices past Nona's comprehension, so it sounded like nom nom nom. She held her eggs in her mouth silently and pressed her ear to the door as hard as she dared, and was rewarded with Palamides saying, Could have made inroads on the barracks at any point. They're holding off. Why? You know why, murmured Pyrrha's voice in response. The moment they go in there... why did I say that? The moment they go in there and clean out the last poor bastards busy divvying... I need to slow down. I'm sorry. The moment they go in there and clean out the last poor bastards busy divvying up the rats and the sedatives, that's going to put a big black mark on the negotiations. The cohort dies like anyone else under siege, eventually. Okay, I guess this conversation is also getting a purple tab, because eventually it might make sense. Purple tabs are mostly for reference, so I have a lot of them in Harrow that I might have to go back to that are just like, oh, they finally gave us information. Sorry, dark purple. I have light purple for narratively important, though in this book that's mostly going to be guesses. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be using that one as much. We'll see. Then this is our last chance to make a difference. Give us orders, Commander. Pyrrha was audibly chewing. Stop being that when I died, Calamities. It was a courtesy title anyway. And there's an embarrassment of commanders here if you want 'em. Pyrrha, he said, why are they running now? Why would Blood of Eden run when they have the best hand they were ever dealt? Why would they run when common sense, good tactics, and foreknowledge must tell them all this is the best moment to make a stand? The time you've spent, the insights you've had that nobody else has been privy to, and you're truly telling me you don't even have an inkling? You're not a prude. Feel free to say it, said Pyrrha, and though her voice was its normal, deep, comfy, slightly hoarse self, there was a little undercurrent in it that Nona couldn't quite parse. Nona would have understood it more if only she'd been able to see Pyrrha. I spent all that time sleeping with the enemy with very little to show for it, right? Blood of Eden is a house with many rooms, and I was only ever visiting one of them. Sure, I've got inklings aplenty. I thought they were with Blood of Eden. Camilla was originally with Blood of Eden, as in, like, she was literally with them physically. That doesn't mean she still is. Well, I did kind of assume that they were just hiding out from everyone. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But it seems like they're against Blood of Eden right now, I'm assuming, since Pyrrha is talking about how she was sleeping with Wake. I still can't get over the fact that they were both having an affair with Wake. Kind of at the same time in the same body. I still want to know how that worked, because there was very little information on that in Harrow. It was just like, oh yeah, we did it differently from you. But they were still able to switch back and forth, sort of, even though they didn't really do it on purpose. I don't know. I might go back to it later, but right now it's not really relevant. I'm just thinking out loud. Blah, 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 blah. Then you've got to brief us. He was cut off by a metal on plastic noise, like eggs being spooned from the bottom of the bowl. No, not if there's any risk of you two undergoing interrogation. Neither of us appreciate being treated like children. Children? I'm treating you like the 6th house warden and his cavalier, neither of whom have been trained to survive a Blood of Eden hot seat, said Pyrrha. Don't think because Camilla's carrying you that you'd have an easy ride. You have no idea what BOE torture is like, and we don't have the 5 years I'd need to teach you. Pyrrha, stop saying you don't have time to teach us things and start teaching. We're quick studies. There was a definite slurp of coffee being drunk. Pyrrha always did drink loudly. She said she still wasn't used to her teeth. I could teach you some bits and pieces, sure. I'd need my necromancer to teach Camilla. Why? Because you need teaching to be an asset, and Camilla wants teaching to be a killer. Ooh, I like that. That is cool. That is getting a green tab. I love when words are used creatively. Ugh. These tabs are old, and the sticky is on the wrong side half the time. I really hope I get my new ones soon. I'm getting sick of wiping, not elastic. I keep saying elastic instead of adhesive. I am getting sick of having to wipe adhesive off of it so it doesn't stick to the other side of the page. Okay, let's hope that sticks. There was a brief silence. until Pyrrha said slowly, "Or you could take me up on my first offer, which would solve." Take me up on my first offer, which would solve a lot of your problems." Calamity spoke at the bottom of Cam's voice, which made it harder to catch. "It was a beautiful offer, Pyrrha, and almost completely useless. There's no retiring our forces in a search and recovery op. In any case, Eden would turn on us completely, even our own cell. We need to fight clever." Okay, so they're inside a rebel cell of Blood of Eden, I'm assuming. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, I wasn't expecting this to make more sense than Harrow the first time around, but I kind of was, and that is my mistake. My bad. I feel like I'm gonna have to immediately reread it, and I don't know if I can commit to doing that on camera again. Maybe I'll just film myself understanding things. Something to worry about afterwards. I haven't even finished the first chapter of the book. If you wanted to fight clever, you'd focus on search and recovery and not on the barracks. It's not helping Cam. She's mad as hell, even madder than you, and it's getting you nowhere. "Thank you for your insight regarding my cavalier," said Palamides politely. "It's appreciated." A snort of laughter. "He ices over. I'm too old to not know to be offensive, Palamides, so forgive me quickly for telling you your business, and let's move on. I'll say it outright. Forget the barracks, and stop trying to be the people's hero. We've lost that fight." "Lost? There could still be 200 people holed up in optimistic. If there were 2, I'd do it. It's a rotten way to die, house or not. What's more, once it's over, the deluge." Yeah, none of this makes sense, and I want it to make sense right now. Okay, everything's fine. Barracks. So there's someone stuck in some barracks that may or may not be alive and might be part of one of the houses. Do you think it's the people that the Emperor sent to renew Harrow's house? Possible, but seems a little unlikely. It's a guess. I've lost track of who's speaking. Okay, Pyrrha said optimistic. No? Yes. "Hey, we might get some breathing space. It might drain the boil." Ew, what boil? Ugh, now I'm thinking about resurrection beasts. "You can't truly believe that." "No, I don't. It'll be first blood," said Pyrrha, and made another slurp. "I know how it is. You should have heard the demo crew yesterday. These people are beside themselves waiting to kick off, waiting for the houses. One guy tells me this'll all be over once the barracks get cleaned out. Another guy tells me he'd welcome the cohort regiment with open arms if they just brought supplies and broke up the gangs. Half my guys would strangle the other half on a pretext. This is what happens when you force refugees from 20 different planets to live cheek by jowl, and you keep thinking people unify under a common threat. She always made that mistake. I told her 20 years ago. Works beautifully in the short term, but you've got to give them a future to really keep them glued. Palamides, we made this mistake ourselves. You can have the barracks or your people, or neither. You can't say I choose both, like a wet towel, and expect the universe to fall into line." "Pyrrha, this is sounding perilously like giving up." "It is?" "You know I'm ready to give up." "Oh, is it? You know I'm ready to give up. This is a shit show. You know I'm ready to get Nona safely off-world the moment you accept the way things are." "There's no way off-world. It's called a ship." "If you're hiding a ship in your dungarees, please share it with the rest of the class." His voice now raised a little. "Bypassing the question of how, where would we go, Pyrrha? What would we do?" "Anywhere." She said, "anything. I've been out of commission for 10,000 years. I'm ready for pretty much anything else." There was a brief silence, then a slurp. When Palamides picked up again, his voice was earnest. "It's a false dichotomy, you know. We're all of us in one layered hostage situation. 3 million people. squatting on a Thanergy planetoid millions of kilometers away from us. 9 million people in this city alone, who aren't yours by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, wait, what? 3 million people squatting on a Thanergy planetoid millions of kilometers away from us. So that I assume that's his... Don't turn me into a vampire. Thank you. That's his house? Are people just getting stranded? What's happening here? Who are all these people? I love that in the first 2 books, we get absolutely no glimpse of the outside world. Outside, basically, Canaan House, and then outside the Mithraeum. Nothing. Absolutely. We have no idea how the other people are living. And then suddenly we get thrown headfirst into just that with no Ma'am. Miss. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but I love you. I love you. But why do you do this to us? Okay. 9 million people in this city alone who aren't yours by any stretch of the imagination. 9 million, Pyrrha. That's the equivalent of the whole of the 7th and 8th put together. 3 million people plus 9 million plus 16. We refuse to leave any of them behind. You're big-minded. Know who isn't? Blood of Eden and me, said Pyrrha. If you asked me to pick between the 3 of us and those 12 million plus 16, I'd pick us without turning a hair. You're not listening to me. BOE are making that choice, Calamities. We suffers lost. The Wakers and Ctesiphon? Ctesiphon is easier to say, but there's a C and first and then an S, so I feel like Ctesiphon. What does that even mean? Let me look it up and see if it's a word, because I'm curious. It might actually be a word. Okay. The Wi-Fi works very badly in this room, so give me a second. I told myself I'd try to, like, film this in a way where I really wouldn't have to edit it much, because these videos are going to be pretty long. We'll see. Okay, so there is a pronunciation. It is an actual word. An ancient city on the east bank of the Tigris River. Ooh, tell me how to pronounce it. Ooh, it's a Greek word. That's cool. I'm probably mispronouncing it. How to pronounce this word. Okay, let's see.
Ctesiphon.
That was not helpful.
Ctesiphon.
Ctesiphon? Is it just...
Ctesiphon.
Ctesiphon.
Ctesiphon. Ctesiphon.
That's totally different.
Ctesiphon.
Chess. It almost sounds like chess. Chessiphon. That doesn't seem right, though. Let's see what YouTube tells me. I don't care. Just...
Today I will show how to pronounce this word. Let's start. Ctesiphon.
Okay, it just sounds like the C is completely just ignored. Let's try one more and then we can keep going. I'm sorry. I know I'm only going to be seeing this word once, but my curiosity tells me that I must know how it's pronounced. Okay, this one isn't loading, so... Chessiphon. Ctesiphon. It really does seem like, in IPA, there's only a T. Ctesiphon. Alright, I'm gonna say Ctesiphon. Back to the book. The Wakers and Ctesiphon wing can't protect us. Merv wings got the glue. Oh, wait, sorry. This is Pyrrha. My bad. The Wakers and Ctesiphon wing can't protect us. Merv wings got the glue, which is a way out. The Hoppers call the shots. Hopers? The Hopers call the shots now. And I've met leaders like Unjust Hope before. These people have the weirdest fucking names. Like, I really shouldn't have assumed that Wake is the only one with the weirdest name in the world. Eventually, I'm going to have to read her name out loud to another human being, and I'm going to be like, I'm sorry. This is literally what it says in the book. Okay. They're the guys who come to the Force when people want leaders who don't count the costs. We're heading for a purge, Sextus. This is the blood of Eden who don't give a fuck. I wouldn't have called them too generous with fucks before. You've got no idea. Listen to me. You've never met this blood of Eden, not really. This blood of Eden has spent their entire existence gambling everything on staying alive for one more day. And I don't know if I even want to find out why anymore. Because you know what? Gideon's dead. And I don't give a fuck either. Not if I can save our skins. I don't believe you. You should. I know a little moon that's only half flipped. It's got good soil, breathable air. Gideon used to think about running away there. I know how to farm. I can teach you and Cam and Nona. I can teach you how to wait. That's my specialty. And the moment I get my hands on a ship, that's where I'm taking us. There was another rustling, but then the timer bleated in a soft, muffled way, as though it was coming from inside a pocket. Palamedes made a sound under his breath that Nona knew was a rude word. He said quickly, "My time's up. That's the best part, right? Getting out of rough conversations." And almost immediately, more quietly, "Forgive me the joke, Warden. I forget you're not used to it." "Never will be. You understand. Look, you'll be late for work, and Nona will be late for school." Pyrrha's voice dropped so that the only thing Nona caught was, "Ing her to go to. I want her to remain as calm as possible. Can you push for Site B?" "I'll do it by end of day, even if I have to finish it off myself. Don't worry." Nona looked at the last lump of yellow in her bowl and silently scraped half of it up to put in her mouth, figuring that if she swallowed all at once, she wouldn't choke or taste. That's a gamble. She could not have made the slightest sound, but Camilla, she could tell it was Camilla again, called from within. "How long were you listening, Nona?" "You were pretty loud, so nearly the whole time," said Nona, through eggs. "Then that damn breakfast had better be eaten," said Pyrrha. Camilla stood by the kitchen counter and tore through her half-eaten breakfast mechanically as Nona unwrapped a sterile tablet in the bucket of gray water for the dishes. Pyrrha balanced a mirror on the table and shaved her face. Nona loved the clean, bright smell of shaving soap, and to see Pyrrha swiftly and expertly scrape the dark russet brown stubble off her cheeks and from around her mouth, and the little wet red marks that appeared. When she reached over to touch one freshly smooth cheek, the marks were already wrinkling up and disappearing. Cam was stationed by the pegs of the door, saying, "Hats," prompting Nona to dutifully take down and hand round the hats, and masks for the same. The hats were hideous, large-brimmed, with cloth panels that came down behind and strings to tie beneath the chin. Nona often thought about burning hers. And it wasn't as though they needed hats or masks. Needed either hats or masks. That was the whole problem, wasn't it? Nona wouldn't cough even if the wind blew the smoke straight into her face, and Pyrrha wouldn't burn any color other than her deep, cool brown. Camilla was busy untucking the black veil on her hat, so Nona let her attention drift to the side of the window, where light was thickly glowing through the little rips in the tape, and the sky was visible through the worst tears. The sky over the city used to be a thick yellow butterscotch color. Now it was only like that at the very edges of the horizon, as the blueness had spread like a stain on the carpet, touching even light. Ooh. I spaced out for a second there, thinking about how I was planning to... The chapter's almost over, so I'm trying to plan how I'm going to transfer the video to my computer and see how fast I can, upload it, or see if I need to edit it. So let's try that sentence again. I love how I can be reading a sentence even out loud, and sometimes my brain is just like, let's think about something else, while I'm still mechanically reading the sentence and processing none of it. The sky over the city used to be a thick yellow butterscotch color. Now it was only like that at the very edges of the horizon, as the blueness had spread like a stain on carpet, touching even the light. See, it's just a weird sentence. Touching even the light, that's the part that throws me off. Maybe I'm thinking about it too literally. Nona took a moment to surreptitiously twitch the curtains, peeking between the broken anti-sniper striping to catch a glimpse of the world outside. Blue light got stronger, and Camilla said sharply, "Nona," and she hurriedly let the curtains fall. Pyrrha, now masked, paused before the door with her wiry knuckles. Roll call. What's this week's all-scatter word? Lockdown. Sorry, not lockdown. Lowdown, said Camilla. And the all clear? Dead weight. Perfect. What are your stations if that thing in the sky even looks like it's about to stop periscoping? What the fuck does that mean? Okay, yellow it is. Yeah, I'm gonna start using yellow. I was so, transfixed on the whole conversation that I don't think I added any other tabs. I don't know if I need any other purple, informational tabs to reference because, I'm pretty sure it's just, the whole conversation is just full of bits of information. Okay. The underground tunnels by the fish market, said Camilla. The big underpass bridge dugout, said Nona. 10 points to you both. And what do you do once you're there? Hide until you come, said Nona, and then added truthfully, and rescue any nearby animals so long as they don't exceed the size of the box and are woolly rather than hairy. The fuck does that mean? When you say woolly, I just think of mammoths. A tiny little mammoth in a box. I want a tiny mammoth in a box. Okay. Half points. No animals, hairy or woolly. I don't care. Cam? Camilla had finished with her hat, and now she was easing the big dark glasses onto her face, the ones she kept specially, despite the fact they were a little unbalanced on her nose and her ears. Are those Gideon's glasses? Are they all using Gideon's glasses? Okay, I'm fine. They made both Palamides and Camilla look chilly and clinical. But as Palamide said, they solved the problem of the ghost limb. Oh, I got it. Without them, he was everlastingly pushing something up his nose that wasn't there. And Nona thought Camilla privately rather liked them. She settled them on, considered the question, and said, "Fight. No points. Camilla, if you engage with a herald, you're not coming home." A herald? Sorry, my brain is working so hard right now. I'm like, wait, was it a theory that the resurrection beasts only come after God? Because in the books it definitely says they'll come after all the lictors. But these guys aren't full lictors anymore. Who knows about Nona, honestly? It might just be Nona. Because she's, both a weird half-lictor and the kid of God. So, it could just be Nona. Stop periscoping. I'm assuming. Periscoping just makes me think of telescopes. I'm gonna have to look up what that means. So there's something that may or may not be protecting them from heralds and or resurrection beasts. Well, heralds probably. Resurrection beasts don't usually come to do their own dirty work in the physical world. They don't have to, because the heralds. Oh my goodness gracious. There's so much going on! What the fuck? Okay. No points. Camilla, if you engage with a herald, you're not coming home. That's your theory, said Camilla. There's data behind it. Heck, if Camilla gets to fight, I should get to keep adjacent dogs, said Nona decidedly, even if they're hairy. I love you so much. Pyrrha turned her eyes up to the ceiling in mute appeal. Her exhalation rasped loudly against the vent in her mask. I used to run the whole bureau, she said, and she didn't sound like she was addressing either of them. Now I'm against wannabe heroes and hairy dogs. This is the punishment she would have wanted for me. God, she must be pissing herself laughing. Let's go, kids. Like hell am I walking in this heat. Okay, I already love all of this. It doesn't make very much sense, but I love all of it. I love all of them. And these stupid tabs have adhesive on the wrong side that I'm trying to rub off, because I'm gonna have to use the rest of them, because the ones that are in the mail are probably not gonna come in the next hour or so, because I'm gonna want to read another chapter later. Anyway, that's all for what I might call the not prologue and chapter 1. All right. I'm already obsessed. Ooh, I didn't realize. It's pink. What? Oh my god, it's pink. Oh my god. I need to check the other ones now. Pretty sure they're both silver, or at least... Okay, never mind. So this one is orange, and then Harrow is probably silver. Yep, Harrow is silver. Alrighty. The only thing that slightly bothers me is that they don't match up exactly. And I don't think there's a version of Nona that would match up exactly to the version of Harrow and Gideon that I have, which is a little frustrating. It's only a little bit, though. Let me show you. Just the bottom. Just the bottom. Anyway. Thanks for watching. And I'm so happy I got to start this still within the month of Halloween, so I can wear my little outfit. Is this a character I've randomly created out of nowhere? When I got the horns? Yes, maybe. Is she a demon librarian? Also maybe. Did I buy dummy glasses just for this? Definitely. I've missed dummy glasses. I feel like I look very cool in them. Also, I'm not wearing a circlet, so I feel like I need something else. Though, my circlet goes here, so I can't wear it with the horns unless I put the horns in a different place. Anyway, I need to stop now so I can have lunch and figure out what I'm doing with the files and stuff. I hope this is high quality enough, because I am filming this on my backup phone because it's the one that has the most space. I really need to buy myself a camera at some point, but don't really have the extra cash right now. Bye.